Let's talk about Gaza. It's been close to 600 days of war, and Israel has launched a new ground offensive in the Strip. The decision caught many off guard. Some have questioned the need behind the move, and others have called the timing controversial. So what is Netanyahu's justification for a new offensive? Why is he facing flak at home as well as abroad? And has Gaza become a political war now? I'm Ananya Dutta, and you're watching Grey Zone. Gaza, a tiny strip in the Middle East, which has the Mediterranean Sea on one side and a blockade on the other, has been bombarded for the last 18 long months. What Israel started as a war on Hamas has killed thousands of innocent civilians, brought buildings to the ground, and displaced people again and again. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the offensive will not end until Hamas, an armed group, ceases to exist. So Israel launched Operation Gideon's Chariots. Operation Gideon's Chariots derives its name from a biblical figure known for his military prowess. It's a major ground offensive launched by Israel on the Gaza Strip. The plan is to use the army as well as the air force. The operation is targeting both southern and northern Gaza. So while Palestinians will be ordered to relocate, where they will go is not clear.
Today we were shocked when Israeli forces dropped leaflets ordering complete evacuation from Khan Yunis to Al-Mawasi. As you see, transportation is impossible. We're loading what we can onto this small cart and walking, hoping to find safe shelter.
There doesn't seem to be any new goal behind the operation. Israel wants to expand operational control in the Strip by controlling areas it sees as strategic and also free the remaining hostages held by Hamas. The assault began as ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas ended on Saturday in Doha. Israel tends to intensify operations and attacks during such negotiations. It is their way of putting pressure on the other side. But with the stalemate now, why is the ground offensive still continuing?
בסוף להגיע למצב שיש לנו אזור שנשלט כולו על ידי צה"ל.
Alongside massive military pressure, our deep incursion, and eventually full control over Gaza.
זה חלק מהכרעת החמאס במקביל ללחץ הצבאי האדיר.
This will eliminate Hamas's ability to loot humanitarian aid. This is our war and victory plan.
Thousands of Israeli troops, including reservists, have been mobilized for the operation, and not everyone is happy at home. Like the Democrats' chairperson Yair Golan has said that the IDF fighters are heroes fighting on behalf of a corrupt government. He further said, and I'm quoting, "Israel is on the way to becoming a pariah state. A sane country does not fight against civilians, does not kill children as a hobby, and does not give itself the aim of expelling populations." The new offensive comes at a time Israel had imposed an 11-week aid restriction on Gaza. The restriction has been lifted, but as the past months would show, Israel's announcement to allow aid into Gaza doesn't mean that the Palestinians will receive aid. Just on Monday, 9 trucks were allowed, at a time when the United Nations says at least 500 trucks are needed every single day.
To say that this is a drop in the ocean is a clear understatement, right? Of course, 9 trucks is better than no trucks, but we need a massive uptick of humanitarian aid. Given the infinitesimally small number of trucks and supplies that are going in, it's going to create outsized expectations, which only increases the security risk both for our own staff and for the recipients.
The leaders of the United Kingdom, France and Canada have threatened to take concrete actions like sanctions if Israel does not stop its renewed military offensive. Unfortunately, it's expected to fall on deaf ears.
Elle est insoutenable parce que la violence.
The situation in Gaza is unbearable because the blind violence, the blockade of humanitarian aid by the Israeli government have turned Gaza into a place of death, not to say a cemetery. This must stop because everybody realizes it is a profound violation of the dignity of human persons. It's an absolute violation of all the rules of international law, and it's contrary to the security of Israel, to which France is committed because whoever sows violence, reaps violence.
The ground offensive came after Netanyahu's closed-door conversation with Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee leaked. I would like to quote from it, "We're destroying more and more homes. They have nowhere to return to. The only inevitable outcome will be the desire of Gazans to emigrate outside of the Gaza Strip." There have been two Shin Bet chiefs under Netanyahu, both of whom have blamed the Prime Minister for making this war personal. Former chiefs of Israeli security forces have come out against their Prime Minister, who they accuse of using the war to stay in power. What also gives us a sense of what is happening in Tel Aviv is that the January ceasefire deal that Hamas and Israel agreed to wasn't any new deal. It was sitting at Netanyahu's desk for months. But it was only after then incoming US President Donald Trump's pressure that Netanyahu agreed to the ceasefire and within a month abandoned the agreed deal. US President Trump has made swinging statements about Gaza, where he has pointed out the extreme level of devastation in the Strip, at the same time talked about a permanent displacement of the Palestinians. The ground operation was strategically timed to commence after Trump's Middle East tour concluded, because the plan was approved by Israel's Security Cabinet on May 5th, but only came into effect after Trump's plane took off. The US administration has been holding direct talks with Hamas, which is unprecedented. The US has never done it before. Experts say this is an indication that Washington isn't completely buying what Tel Aviv is telling them. A source close to Axios has said that while the Trump administration consulted with Israel about the possibility of engaging with Hamas, Israel learned about the aspects of the talks only through other channels. So here we are, nearly 600 days in, and Gaza is still burning. The goals are shifting, the rhetoric is escalating, and the people caught in the middle are being erased from the conversation. Netanyahu says this is about defeating Hamas, but with every new offensive, every airstrike, every evacuation order, the war looks less like a military campaign and more like a political strategy, one that's helping a cornered prime minister cling to power, even if it costs Israel its global image. And like every move in the Middle East, we have to ask, what is Washington getting out of this? I'm Ananya Dutta. Thanks for watching Grey Zone.